Come on. Good morning. There's a few of you. Let's try that one more time just for fun. Good morning. There. Yay. My name is Chris George, and I use she, her pronouns. I serve as one of your Board of Trustee members, and I'm happy to welcome you to Tahoma Unitarian Universalist Congregation today. Longtime members and new visitors alike, you are welcome here. Whether you are joining us here, online in the sanctuary, from another location, wherever and however you've connected with us today, we are glad you're here. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders, and love is the power that holds us together. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. You are welcome just as you are. If this is your first time with us, I bid you a special welcome. I'm so glad you found your way to our community. After the service, I will be in the back of the sanctuary right back there to answer any questions you might have about Unitarian Universalism, about our congregation, or if you want to talk about how to get involved. Please feel free to join me there. Also, I'm asking all board members who are here today to please stand. Dolores, Maria. Okay, good. That's where we are today. Chrissy's coming. Yeah, applause. Thank you. Chrissy's coming in online, board president. Feel free to approach any of us with questions. For those of you who are here in the sanctuary, we have hearing assistance devices and large print hymnals available in the back of the sanctuary. I see someone availing themselves of those now. For our service this morning, our online chaplain will help guide our online folks. And for those of us on site, we will be utilizing the screen behind me to project the words for unison readings and the lyrics for our hymns. You can also follow along with the printed order of service, two-sided today. You'll see there's information on the back. You can always find information about TUUC on our website, tahomauu.com. Be sure to read the weekly e-news for important information about the congregation, upcoming events, and volunteer opportunities. If you aren't yet signed up for the e-news, you can do that today so you won't miss a thing. You can also do that online by accessing that little code, whatever that thing's called. Late adopter here. During Reverend Crystal's absence, we have contracted with Reverend Victoria Poling to provide pastoral care for our congregation. If you are in need, you can reach out to her at minister@VashonIslandUU.org or email Christy Kim at board@tahomauu.com or Lauren, our administrator, who is not here today, admin@tahomauu.com to connect with Reverend Victoria. She serves as the minister to the Vashon Island Unitarian Universalist and to Kitsap UU Fellowship. She lives with her partner and 2 cats in Kent, Washington. We are planning a church auction next Saturday right here. And to tell you more about that, Teresa Hall is going to come up. Yay.
Hello, everyone. As Chris said, I am Teresa Hall, and I am the co-chair for this year's auction. Next Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. is our annual auction, a fun opportunity to meet, play games, eat great food, and buy some cool stuff. We need your help. Now I'm going to say it again. We need your help. If you've not already done so, please go to our website, tahomauu.com, and sign up for one of the many volunteer opportunities and or purchase your admission tickets. We're only a week away, and we have a lot of volunteer positions still available. Sheila and I will be in the back of the, in the hallway, in the main hallway, selling tickets, our admission tickets. And Penny, who's already standing, we'll be signing up people for our volunteer opportunities. Please spring into action and help us make this year's auction the success I know it can be. Thank you.
Yay! You are also invited to join us for social hour immediately following the service right here in the sanctuary. There will be coffee and refreshments, and it's a great time to catch up or get to know someone new. For those of you who are visiting or who are new to our community, we have red coffee mugs for you to use if you would like to identify yourself as someone relatively new and chat. I respectfully acknowledge that I speak to you today from the land of the Coast Salish people, including the Puyallup tribal nation, land from which they were forcibly displaced. I affirm the continued sovereignty of the 574 federally recognized tribes, including the 29 here in Washington, and support those still fighting for federal recognition. I acknowledge the theft, violence, trauma, and racism that Indigenous people have experienced at the hands of the colonizers from 1492 through the present day. I honor the resiliency of the Indigenous people and stand with them as they continue to fight for land, water, visibility, sovereignty, and their very existence. Lastly, friends, I invite you to set your electronic devices to worship mode. We are gathered here, one community, together. Let us settle ourselves into this holy moment and open our hearts to learn and unlearn, to share and to receive. Now, let us join together in worship.
Good morning, friends. I'm joining you today on Zoom. I'm so happy to be with you in this format. Our opening words today come from Robert French Levins and go like this. Holy and beautiful, the custom which brings us together in the presence of the Most High to face our ideals, to remember our loved ones in absence, to give thanks, to make confession, to offer forgiveness, to be enlightened, to be strengthened. Through this quiet hour breathes the worship of ages, the cathedral music of history. Three unseen ghosts attend, faith, hope, and love. Let all our hearts prepare them a place.
I want to invite Micah Fender to come forward and light our chalice. Micah and her partner Gemma have been coming here for more than 6 months, about 6 months, and are recently joined as members. So thank you for lighting that chalice for us. And thank you for the speaking role you have later in the service. Now join me in the unison words. They will appear on screen. Oh, yeah. Thank you. And now the unison reading. We light this chalice in deep respect for the mystery and holiness of life, in honor and gratitude for those who have gone before, with love and compassion for those who dwell among us, and with hope and faith for the generations to come. All right, and now for our opening hymn, we're going to sing number 360 in the gray hymnal. Here we have gathered. Please rise in body or spirit, and we'll be led by Susan Kunkel, our song leader for today.
Here we have gathered side by side, circle of kinship.
You really got to push that button in. Trust it. People know what to do around here. Help out. Help out in your own way, like by coming forward. Well, today, I don't know if you guys know this, but Chrissy Kim is amazing. She's leading this service, even though she's at a conference in New Orleans. And she planned this whole thing. She's just wonderful. So thank you to Chrissy. She found a time for all ages for us today. We're gonna watch it on screen. It's a video, and I don't know if you remember, a few minutes ago, Chris, when she was doing her announcements, said, "We acknowledge that we live in the land of the Coast people." Well, the speaker in this video is from the Coast Salish people. He's from the Elwha Clallam. I think I have that right. We'll hear him say it. Chrissy says we need to help along the way, and as we watch this video, so do your parts, please. Not just you up front, but maybe everybody. All right, video time.
Hello, my name is Roger Fernandez. I'm a Native American artist and storyteller and educator. I belong to the Lower Elwha Clallam tribe, we're called. Our real name is Nuxcleum, and it means strong people, so I come from the strong people. I'm here to share some stories with you today, and I'm going to start with one story that is called Pushing Up the Sky. A long time ago, the world was very different than it is today. Can all of you point to where the sky is today? And everyone has their fingers going up like this, and the sky is way, way up there. But in the Snoqualmie story that they tell, the sky at one time was not way up there. It was dark and was heavy and was way down here. Here was where the sky was, right here. And because of that, the people had to walk around all bent over all the time. They walked around bent over because they would bump their heads in the sky. Well, it's not fun walking around all bent over. You keep bumping your head, your back starts to hurt, and you can't see where you're going. You can only see your feet beneath you. And so it wasn't fun walking around all bent over. And the people, they started to argue all the time. They're arguing with each other and yelling at each other all the time. And then they began to fight, hitting each other, pushing each other, shoving each other out of the way. So the people were arguing and fighting all the time. And is this how people should be? No. Well, there was a little girl in her house there, and she saw this, her people arguing and fighting all the time, and she said, "This is not right. There must be something I can do." And so she thought, and she thought, and she thought some more, and she had an idea. She walked out of her house to the middle of the village, put her hands to the sky, and she pushed up as hard as she could. And she felt the sky move a little bit. She said, if I call the other people out of their houses and we push together, maybe we can push the sky up a little bit more. And so she did. She called them out and she told them her idea. But they were grumpy. That's a crazy idea. That'll never work. She said, "Oh, please try just once." They said, "All right." So they all put their hands in the sky and they pushed up as hard as they could. And they felt the sky move a little bit more. Now, this was a very smart little girl. She said, "I know, we can invite all the Indian tribes around here to come to our village, and we can tell them we're going to push up the sky, and we can push up the sky." And the people said, "Now, little girl, that's a very good idea." And so all the tribes were invited to the Snoqualmie village up in the mountains, and they were told the plan, how we're going to push up the sky. Well, everyone agreed it was a good idea, but someone way in the back said, wait a minute, there's a big problem here. All the tribes around here, we all speak different languages. And it's true, they do. So we all have a different word for push. How can we work together? How can we push together? We have different languages. And the people talked and argued and talked and thought, and they couldn't think of anything. Well, the people knew then, as we should know now, if you have a problem that one person cannot solve, what you do is you go to an elder, an old person. Because old people are not just smart, they're also wise. So they went to this old man at the end of the village, and they explained the problem to him. And he said, "Wait a minute, let me think about this for 2 days. Come back in 2 days and I will tell you." In 2 days they came back, and the old man said, "You shall use the word Yahau. Yahau mean work together, Yahau mean push together. When I say Yahau, we all say Yahau and push up on that heavy sky." Well, everyone followed the directions of the old man. And they got down, they put their hands in the sky like this. And you can do it too. If you want to bend down, pretend you're bending down, you're pushing up on that sky, it's right here. The old man said, "Yahoo!" And the people said, "Yahoo!" And they pushed up on the sky. He said, "Yahoo!" They said, "Yahoo!" And they pushed up on the sky again. He said, "Yahoo!" They pushed up again. Now, is that high enough? The old man said, "No. Get some long poles, some big sticks, keep pushing up." And so they did again. Yahoo! 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 We did it! We pushed this guy up to where it is today. And so we did a good thing. The Snoqualmie people say, if we work together, we can do great things. We can even push up the sky. We can do the impossible. Well, the story goes on, how there were problems. There were some problems as they were pushing up the sky, because things got stuck in the sky as it pushed up. 3 hunters and their dog were chasing 3 elk, and they got stuck in the sky.
I think we're going to have to go to YouTube and see what else Roger tells us about. But thank you to all of you for helping push up the sky just now and for working together. And now, as Marianne gets ready, we're going to make an arch and then sing the kids down.
We now come to the part of the service, our invitation to generosity. This morning, these words from John Saxon. The light of our chalice would soon flicker and die without the oil that nourishes its flame. And just as this flame cannot burn without oil, this religious community cannot survive or thrive without the financial as well as the personal support of its members and friends. That oil that keeps the flame of our liberal religious faith alive and fuels the shared mission and ministry of this fellowship. Let us now give freely and generously an offering to sustain and strengthen our shared religious community, a community of memory, hope, faith, and love. For we are now the keepers of the flame that burns for justice, its dream of beloved community, its vision of a world made whole by love.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Dave, as he brought one of the baskets up, reminded me, say something about these other opportunities to give. Those of us who are on site today, there are ways to give specifically to trans relocation support and to safe parking support. Don't forget those baskets up there. They're just part of our sanctuary these days, but they need some attention every once in a while. All right, join me now in the dedication. We dedicate ourselves and our offerings to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community, both within and beyond these walls. All right, time for a meditation hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit. Susan Kunkel will lead and invite you to rise in body or spirit.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate lives will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Your trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured love and conscience refined, with chorus of love united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
For our reading today, we have an excerpt from What is a UU Congregation? Who is it for? This is by the Reverend Karen Madrone, written last summer. Unitarian Universalism has historically welcomed people who wanted a faith where they could use their whole minds and their hearts. Unitarians were focused on the logic of faith. Universalists believe that God would not condemn people to hell for mistakes made in their lifetimes. The concept of Unitarian has become interpreted more broadly from one God to all are one. And the concept of Universalist has become interpreted more broadly from God loves all to all are loved. These ideas of oneness of all people and having a focus on love for all people permeates through our principles and values today. 62 years later. While everything changes and evolves, the oneness of everything and love for all people continue to be the core we live from. So who are we for? We are for people who want to be together with people across many different religious beliefs without centering their own as the most important. We are for people who want to learn how to love others with different ways of being in the world. We are for people who want to grow, learn, and practice building a community, even when there is conflict. In a UU community, we practice love, forgiveness, making amends, and building community. Community is the most important thing. Unitarian Universalism is a kind of practical laboratory of creating, covenanting, making mistakes, and re-covenanting. Our hope is that by practicing these skills together, we can take these skills to other parts of our lives and build the larger world we wish to see that is inclusive of all. All are welcome.
Good morning again. Thank you, Scott, for reading, and Marianne for the beautiful piano this morning. This is our annual Sermon on the Amount, and our theme for this year's stewardship campaign, or pledge drive, whichever you prefer to call it, is our bridge to the future. This is a time for us to come together and reflect on what TUUC means to us, what this community means to us, who we are in community together, and then looking forward to who we want to be and how we want to interact with each other and with our broader community. And then what resources do we need to get ourselves there? So your board has come together, and we have some ideas that we want to present to you. And it is a little bit of a big ask this year. So Michael, can you show the slide for our graphic? That works. So like I said, it's a bridge to the future. We have this lovely bridge graphic that we'll be using to keep track of our pledges throughout this coming pledge cycle, which will be for the next month or so. And our goal this year is $177,840. I'm not good at asking for money. I don't know that in our culture we're very good about talking about money in general, particularly as a woman. But what I do know is that it takes resources to make this community that we all value. It takes our time, it takes our talents, and it takes our money. This goal is a just under 14% increase from last year's goal. And the reason that we're asking for this increase, we have decided to keep with our halftime minister and are wanting to raise enough funds to cover a halftime DRE. So that's a director of religious education to support the children's programming so we can continue to grow. I'm sure that you are all feeling the cost of inflation. We all are. And so we also wanted to include a 3% salary increase for our staff. We've had some technology issues with our worship services. So we added some extra for our worship technology and computer hardware to help support our multi-platform mode. And then we've seen quite a bit of maintenance issues with our building this past year. So we increased the amount in that budget line item as well. And as I think you are all aware, if you've been reading your e-news, We did complete the building inspection, and our building committee is working on prioritizing those needs that were identified. And then we'll be bringing them out to you to look over, and we'll probably have an additional ask for how to fund and how far down we want to fund that list of building repairs and maintenance and things. So I do have some folks that I'm going to invite up to speak with us a little bit about what TUC means to them. So if William and Micah and Loretta will make their way up to the podium, I'm just going to have them take turns sharing, and then I will join you. Well, I guess I'm still here. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But I will let them speak, and then I will speak again.
My testimony is a long story, so we're going to give you the abridged version. It's ironic to think that anyone would ask me to speak from any pulpit in any church when I look back at who I was 5 years ago. 2 years ago, I was living in my car. I hadn't spoken to anyone in about a year. Living in my car seemed like a good idea. At 52, I was an executive for an international company, had about 80,000 employees at certain times of the year. We had an inventory service, and I was director of operations for the Northwest and Eastern operations. I had done that for 17 years. And at 52, if I had just lived my life to 56, I would have been retired in Costa Rica and had been married for 29 years, had a nice house on Browns Point. And I decided to cash all that in for a chance to embrace anxiety. It was probably not my best choice. I became a hardcore drug addict and also sold drugs out of my car. That was the only way that I could kind of survive. And I was good at lots of things in life, but suicide wasn't one of them. I had tried 3 different times and unfortunately wasn't able to make that happen. But then I saw divine intervention. I wasn't a person who prayed. I felt like that was a hypocritical type of thing, that when you're in crisis, oh dear God, come help me. So I wasn't that guy. But suddenly I started getting divine intervention in my life. I had lost my wallet 4 times in the course of a year. And when you're unemployed and homeless and living in your car, losing your wallet is a really bad thing. I mean, it costs you hundreds of dollars to get it back. You're in all these different lines. You need one form of identification to get the next form of identification. I had left my wallet and phone on the top of my car like this at a park and drove my car for 20 miles. And when I got to my destination, my wallet and phone were still on the top of my car. And I had to say to myself, oh my goodness. I mean, that's divine intervention. Someone knew how devastating it would be for me to lose my wallet. And they made sure that I didn't. And so at that point, I started looking towards God because there were miracles in my life. I had serious mental health issues, and I started getting better without medication. I had serious social issues, and I started getting better without medication. I came off of drugs without medication, all because of this divine intervention. So I just wanted to look around and find some way to thank this and recognize this in my life, because I hadn't really been very religious. And so I started going to different churches, and I made a commitment that I would go to a church for 6 times before I would say, all right, that's enough. Still at this point, I go to 4 or 5 different churches. It isn't about getting to heaven. I'm not even sure heaven is a place I want to go. But I do want to give thanks to this energy that's in my life that seems to be taking care of me. I want people to know I'm doing much better today. But I still want you to worry about me. Because I think we all need people to worry about us, and the Surgeon General came out last year with a report on an epidemic of loneliness and isolation. 1 in 4 people said, and this is globally, they did this research globally, 1 in 4 people said that they were lonely and felt isolated. 1 in 4 of us feel that way right now today. Even though we're smiling at other people, and when people ask us how we're doing, we say great, inside, we're feeling very alone and forgotten. And that's our culture, and not just our culture, it's our world. This church made me feel welcomed. I was part of the safe parking program and had run out of safe places to park in the world. I would park at a park and ride until something crazy would happen at that park and ride, or I'd park by the hospital or by a police station or whatever. And parking in this parking lot was the first time that I had felt welcomed. This is the first church I've come to where I didn't walk out of a service angry. Where someone said something in the course of that service where I had to say, no, that's not my God. I mean, no, I'm sorry, I just don't agree. And I've been coming here for over a year now and have never had that happen. So it's a pleasure to belong because, you know, it's something that I've waited a long time for. And like I said, there's something I just don't recognize in the mirror to think that I would belong to a church, because 5 years ago, I was never going to do that. So I'm in the book. I hope I haven't said anything to be eliminated from that book. It was in pen, so you'd have a hard time. You'd have to cross it out. Thanks for having me.
Not quite the same story. I was still in high school when the boyfriend at the time, after talking about our beliefs, said, "You sound like a UU." And invited me to come to this church. And that's how I came to this congregation. I didn't keep him, but I kept the church. Back then, and I enjoyed the youth group. But life got busy, and for several years, I wasn't around. Wanting a place for our children to learn about the variety that we have to offer, I came back. The mosaics here are part of that, of realizing that everything has something to teach us. And they're part of what we brought from our old building. They were done by the congregation. In fact, some of the people had them on their kitchen tables working on them. I have been a part of many classes, the pagan group for a while, the yoga group for years. And we met weekly. Meditation groups, the women's group that I'm still a part of, and we're going on 20 years. Friends that helped me with joys and sorrows that we all have. And I have the joy of having our granddaughter, wanting to come to church with me, helping to greet and do coffee. We all want places to belong, and this is where I have found a home. We have to do our best to take care of our home. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Micah. I use they, them pronouns. My partner Gemma and I became members officially a couple weeks ago, and we've been coming here for about 6 months. But I actually grew up attending a UU church in Bend, Oregon. As a kid, that was a really wonderful experience for me, and kind of was a foundation of who I am today, the things I learned. I left when I got older, as teenagers often do. In the last year, I realized that I was feeling alone and isolated, and I had my little group of people, but outside of that, there was no one else in my life who I was friends with or talking to, or I looked for a UU congregation and found this one and invited my partner to come. The first day we came was actually the day that we made the posters back there, which was not a normal day, but it was a ton of fun. And we continued to come because we met such wonderful, kind people. Because this space offers community and the camaraderie of a church without asking us to follow a specific creed or faith. And I appreciate the potential that I have to volunteer and do community service and community action here. And we chose to become members and pledge our time and funds so that like all those programs that I want to support can continue to grow. And because I can see like even in my short time here that whatever I give to this community is going to be given back to me tenfold. I want to support this space so that more people can find this community, people who are seeking a safe space to explore spirituality without judgment or agenda can come here and find what I've found both as a kid and now. And to surround myself with people who help make the world around them a better place. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all for sharing your stories and your whys about why you are here and why you choose to support our congregation. You know, it is the community that we build together, I think, that keeps so many of us coming back, the connections. Who do you look for when you walk in the door? What are you excited about when you see in the e-news? And I want us to be able to do more and more as we continue to grow back from our COVID isolation. I wanted to also give you a chance this morning to talk a little bit with each other. And, you know, when I first agreed to volunteered for this service, I didn't realize I was going to be out of the state. So I'm hoping this will work. You know, please, to the spirits that be, that I'll be able to get you back after 5 minutes. But what I want you to be able to do is to share your whys. And Michael, can you put up that next slide? Share your whys with a group of 2 or 3 people beside you or around you in some way. In the online community, we're going to use the chat to share some of our whys and what we can share with each other. I'm also hoping that you don't just grab the people that you know nearby. Look maybe a seat away or a seat in front or behind and talk to somebody new. Make sure you introduce yourselves first and then share. You can answer one or all of these questions. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes together. So it's not a whole lot of time before we come back together as a whole group. But what does TUC mean to you? What would it mean if tomorrow TUC disappeared? What would be missing in your life? Why do you come to TUC? What gets you here on a Sunday morning, on a Friday night for a potluck, for the auction? Why do you come? And then thinking ahead, what resources do you have that you can share? And resources broadly in terms of your time, where you can volunteer to help out. What talents can you bring to our community that maybe you haven't shared yet? And then your monetary resources that you can bring forward. Like I said, we're looking at an increase of about 14%. We have some new members. We've had 2 new member workshops that have added some new folks to our community. But it will require us all to share a little bit more for us to be able to reach our goals. So I'm going to go ahead and let you chat, and Scott will help me bring you all back.
Okay, the people was one of the great answers. Let's start to reconvene in the whole. Thank you all. Finish your thought, but then find your place again. Thank you.
So are we back, Scott?
Amazingly, yes. What good people. Thank you. Thanks, Chrissy.
All right. Well, the good news is that you can continue these conversations over coffee and into the coming weeks. This doesn't have to end today and it doesn't have to end now. This brings us to the moment of the service where we set an intention moving forward. And I'm going to share, my intention this coming year is to increase my pledge by 15%. And that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me financially. And I think it's important that I put my money where my values are. So that's a commitment that I am making. And then to continue to stay involved. I'll be transitioning off the board this year. So we are looking for more board members. But I will continue to stay involved in this congregation that has my heart, particularly with the RE program, Down with the Children. They fill me up, and with the worship committee. We have a new, I don't know what to call it, opportunity that was shared with me from Cindy Hackett. She visited one of her old congregations, and they had this little quarter sheet of paper that had some questions on it on the front and back, and I modified that and put it on the back of your order of service. So if you want to flip over that order of service, there's a place on there for you to do some reflection as you're setting your intention based off of this service. I hope you find it valuable. I'd love to hear some feedback on that. So share it with Scott if you want to continue to see that week after week, or with me. And that brings us to our closing hymn. So if you would rise in body or spirit to sing number 354 in the gray hymnal, We Laugh, We Cry.
We live, we die, we dance, we
shared with friends, they will linger on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that heaven our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the question, this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for equality and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a joy being together. And in our search for peace, may we finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
Sorry, y'all, my fingers aren't working on that video button. Our closing words today are by Laura Bellamy. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. And if you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world. Go in peace. I think Scott is going to come forward to help us with the chalice extinguishing.
And we're going to recite these words together, but notice those last words, until we are together again. That might be Saturday at an auction. Okay. All right. So let's do a unison reading here. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. All right, and now it's time for our closing blessing song. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Just a quick announcement. I have finally made a decision and I will be here tomorrow afternoon at about, probably around 1 or 2 o'clock to get started working on the walls. So if you'd like to come and help me get the walls prepared and start the painting, I'm hoping to get this done in time for the auction, but we'll see how that goes. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Okay. What time? Around noon.